apologies for the noises in the background if you hear music, thumps, etc. I actually told the guy to turn down his music. Motion Link is also known for doing Voyage, which is supposed to be the fan-made sequel to Nice Sensei, which is now free to play on Steam. You should go download it. He focuses on walking simulators. I don't even know if that's like a pejorative term. I've never used it as a pejorative term, the walking simulator, but I guess it really could be. Maybe that's what it was supposed to be, but the problem is I like every single game that is considered a walking simulator. That's like most of my Steam library. So I've never thought of it really as a pejorative term, but the more I think about it, the more I guess it could be. But yeah, games that are more about exploring the environments within. For Motion Link, he focuses on specifically environments related to the architectural concept known as brutalism. Apparently, he is back, or was back. This game has been out since the end of August. I missed it somehow. With Neo-Brutalism of Tomorrow, where the concept is it's less a game and it's more just this little environment that you can walk around in. It's pretty similar to an art gallery of sorts, or a sculpture gallery. I think the concept is pretty similar to Brutalism Prelate on Stone. So we'll just be starting off in a room and we'll be walking around and seeing all the different things that there are to see. Neo-Brutalism of Tomorrow by Motion Link, and I hope I'm pronouncing that right. So I actually do like this starting position. Artistic. I will be sure to have commentary better than what I just said throughout this. So for this type of game, there is running. I don't know if you can hear it. The game audio, and this is the first thing that I actually picked up on, is that unless there's some sort of setting that I'm not aware about, the game audio for this is extremely low, which sucks. I'm going to boost it for me, just so I can have something to hear. You guys probably won't hear a difference, and I don't know how to change that for you guys. My OBS settings are pretty set in stone as it was. It's already at maximum, so. There is audio here. You can trust me on that, and hopefully there's not a big volume fluctuation later. Let's see. So there's walking, there is running, there's no jumping, but that's fine because one does not need to jump in an art gallery, contrary to popular opinion. A couple things that I noticed right off the bat is that we got this weird like graphic looking thing here, this really low res graphic, and it took me forever to figure out what this is. I thought it was supposed to be like scratched glass, but then it didn't make sense as to why it was not moving relative to the glass. And that's when I figured out it's actually supposed to be a reflection of this. But this, you're gonna have to forgive me because I don't know computer terms, but sampling, I guess. Very low. It is too pixely. That's what I'm gonna call it. And also the placement is much lower than the lights are up there. I think it's cool to have this sort of detail reflected in the glass, but it is not being pulled off very well. And I do know that this is not a result of the quality setting that you put on when you first put on this game. It doesn't change regardless of the quality setting. Hopefully it's just my computer, but yeah, there's that. As with other Motion Link games, there is something that I personally do not like, and I wish there was an option to sort of turn this off. It actually, in this game, does not look to be that bad. The motion blur, I am never a fan of motion blur. It makes everything seem super slow. And again, I don't know if this is just my laptop processing this, but all of Motion Link's games, the movement seems to be a little slower and just overall more blurry than I feel like it should be. Like if you were to look at Nice Sensei, for example, very similar art style again, but they don't use a blur there. If it's an artistic decision, okay, sure, we can disagree with the artist, but that is my 2 cents. It makes everything feel a little bit more lethargic as a player. Do you like this outside area? This is about as far as I got when I was first firing up this game. There's a tiny, I noticed this before, tiny little glitch there. I don't know exactly what causes this. I asked my friend and he said it was something referring to occlusion or shadows, detecting edges that aren't there. I don't know. I hope to know all these things someday. I'm going to show you guys something very frustrating. I really like this setup right here of these 3 gates. Unfortunately, you can't walk past them. It makes total sense as to why they'd be like this. They sort of like simulate kind of like, if this is your museum, this could be the line to get in, or it could also be a barricade for cars, you know, because there are totally a lot of cars out here. But you get the idea. Some sort of barricade to protect the entrance. But you can't walk anywhere. You can't walk past it. I would have preferred that you'd be able to walk to the end, all the way over there, and just make it so you don't fall off the edges. I think that's pretty easy to do. So basically just do this, except on the edges all the way over there. It just feels weird to have a cutoff point right there. Extend that out, please. That would be nice. Now over here it kind of makes sense because no one expects you to go that way. But what if we want to see more of the building? Not to mention, we'll talk about the widescreen. The widescreen, interesting choices was also done in Prelude on Stone, if I'm not mistaken. Doesn't really allow you to see a lot, unfortunately. I wish we didn't have this like half of the screen cut off. But I can get behind it, it's fine. So let's move out of this base room here. To turn this up a lot more. This was the last thing that I noticed. So this hallway, you can't go down this hallway, or at least you cannot access this hallway from this point. There is some sort of barrier here. It seems like a place you should be able to go. It almost seems like a place that we're meant to go, considering it's lit up and everything, but maybe it's just my file, but I cannot go that way. There's just an invisible wall. There are some light noises, I do like that. Good attention to detail. Also, there's a wall here too. It doesn't seem like that needs to be here. So, again, maybe we'll find out later why that wall is there. Maybe it's like, I'm assuming what it might be. I'm gonna play devil's advocate. If anything, now I don't think the game is this complex. I think it's just a walk around and look at things type of thing. But I could see if there were like parts of the place that you had to unlock, and then it was like, oh, okay, well now I have this key, now we can go over there. And then they just forgot to put up an actual barrier or something. I could understand that. But in the meantime, we're stuck with only going in one spot. Possibility number 2, I guess, now that I'm just thinking about this, is that they're actually trying to imply that you go in this museum in a sort of direction, and maybe that's like the exit point, so it's like a one-way sort of wall. So we'll end up back here eventually after we go through the entire museum. You know what? Actually, the more that I'm thinking about it, I bet you that's what the thing is. But I don't know. An invisible wall? Okay, yeah, we're not going to worry about it. Let's explore, because that's what we're here to do. I'm hearing the noises. I do like them. In one of his other games, I think it was Fugue and Void actually, I had a... I'm just paying attention to the footsteps, and yes, I'm going to be going through this game very slowly. With all my talking, I'm be cramming in as much detail as possible. With this game, I remember in my original video, yeah, it was my Fugue and Void video, which I think is still up. No, it's not still up on my channel, but I'll make sure to mention this in the new version of that video. It's very important to, when you're conveying believability and stuff like that, is if you have a sound effect that's meant for one type of walking or meant for walking on one type of material, make sure you switch the sound effect when you go to a different type of material. There was a problem in Fugue and Void where there was the sort of like stepping on sand noise where you started out on sand and you're stepping on sand, but then you transferred to stone and it sounded like you were still on sand. So again, like hopefully take steps to try to break the immersion in those places. It's a nice room. I can't really if I come to a room and I'm just like, that's a nice room, then you can take that as me just really appreciating the architecture, and please note that down as a good room architecture. I'm not going to focus too much on the actual architecture of this place because that is the strongest point of most of these games, is the architecture and the actual room construction itself, and then it's just actually like kind of the nitty-gritty technical details that tend to weigh this game down. We got an interesting reflection going on over here. Again, it's offset. I don't think it should be that way. Seems to be running into a similar problem as the reflection in the other window and the starting room. If anyone is in chat, please let me know how you're doing and how your day was. Both because I need to make sure that feedback is available should the stream go bad, and also because I want to hear about your day. Let's go this way. Not expecting too many scary things, even though this place is pretty, as soon as I say that. Now see, this is the problem when you have really low volume to start. Like, if there's going to be some sort of jump scary thing, which none of Motion Link's games have had so far, just to be clear. But if there is going to be one, I don't want my eardrums blown out, because that is not fair to me, and it's way too fair to my medical provider. Just to be safe, I'm going to put this down. Oh, it's red. That's pretty cool. I am a sucker for things bathed exclusively in red light. I'm hoping these parts were not of another tourist. Got a little bit of an altered reality thing going on here. I dig it. More, please. I'm not going to spend too much time actually trying to figure out. Now, yeah, there is a pane of glass here. Okay, there's supposed to be a pane of glass. I'm not going to spend too much time figuring out what the words are saying. Now, okay, yeah, so it does transfer back. Interesting. There are places to go. Let's start at the top and work our way down, like any good museum goer does. Unless it's the Guggenheim, I guess. Yeah, just pointing out things. It really is hard to hear that volume. I'll try not to complain about it too much. And I also will try to shut up if I have nothing to say, out of fairness for everyone who just wants to drink it in. Got another one of those things there. Don't ask me what it's about. I would like to make games like this. That would be fun. I would enjoy that. Nothing too fancy. Just enough to tickle your architecture appreciation bones. Did I go this way? Wait, hold on. Did I already like get myself turned around? I did. Okay. Alright, I will try to pay a little bit more attention. Ooh, tires. Are these different? Hold on. They're arranging themselves in different fall patterns each time, and then it looks like the animation is playing back. I'm assuming there's not much damage to be taken in this. Can I go through them? I don't really feel like getting into a like artistic interpretation of each of these exhibit rooms, so yeah, we'll see. These sound effects, I'm not sure how crazy I am about them. There's that really weird, like, I don't know what you call it. Oh shit. I actually got caught on a tire. There's a lot of like, gosh, I need more terminology. This weird thing where it sort of sounds like it's warping, I guess. The frequencies are kind of like sliding past each other. Gosh, I really don't know how to describe it. And also the sound effects themselves, I think, could be a little bit more fitting. I mean, I guess like you're trying to go for that dull thud that you would expect from rubber on sand. I don't think I was very sold on that sound effect. Anything over here? No, this is a lookout place. Noticing the lights are shimmering a little bit as I stand still. It was very apparent in that first room. That's all I have to say about that. Very blurry all of a sudden. Oh, interesting. Now this is a term I do know. I believe it's depth of field. Hopefully I know it. Very narrow all of a sudden, forcing you to look at what's immediately in front of you. Do balls really fall like that on top of each other? I don't think so. I would be careful about how your gravity is working. The other thing about this too is that with balls like this, especially if you have that sound effect, it basically makes them more or less marbles. Again, yeah, you have a lot of balls falling right on top of each other. I would look into that and trying to see if, I don't know if that's like a friction thing, if it's a friction setting, but with balls like this, the very high metallic sound that they're making suggests there's something like marbles. And marbles, when they're bouncing, and this is like obviously a granite tabletop, they bounce a lot before they come to rest. These ones are bouncing 3 times, it looks like, and then they're coming to rest. It's almost to the point with regular marbles when they really, like right before they settle down, they're like they're like buzzing pretty much right before they stop, and they're hardly moving at all when they're doing that. So putting in more bounces, having like a lot of faster bounces, so it'll be like and then it's like that very short buzz, and then they finally come to rest against the table. That will sell this marble thing much better. Really do like this. Again, like the concept of the room itself, really nice. And you even have some like auxiliary bouncing noises and stuff, which is... And you have the rolling noises. Yeah, that's good. Good attention to detail there. I feel like I'm talking directly at you. at the developer, which I guess is sort of my point of doing this. Fortunately, I don't have Twitter, so I don't know how I'm going to shoot this video over to him. I used to have Twitter. I had to check whether or not that was in-game music. Now, the codec moment would be... Okay, it's getting louder. Much louder, okay. But what was the payoff? It's loudest right here. Oh, okay, that actually scared me. Alright, was that supposed to be a bird? Please tell me that was a nice benevolent bird. What was that? And where did it go? I do not have a flashlight in this game. I was just about to wonder, I was just thinking, it's like the music is strongest like right here, which doesn't seem to match up to anything as far as like the center of like a point of interest or something like that, unless we're meant to look at it from right here. What was that? Well, I'm gonna have to go back into my footage and look at that. I don't even know if it's gonna come back. What's the detail? What's going on? The music source actually does seem to be moving. So, we're supposed to look outside and, like, see the bird flying? I'm just calling it a bird. Don't really know how long I should wait here to figure out what that was. Is there like a nest? No. Actually, you know, we have this ledge here. This just clicked in my head. Maybe we're supposed to see the bird. Watch it somewhere here. Okay, well. This game got my heart rate pumping for 2 seconds. That is really kind of the interesting thing, though, when everything, like nothing moves in this game inside. Like this could more or less be a pretty, like, still image. But then when you do see something move, because your mind is already saturated with how much everything is not moving, it definitely makes for a greater contrast. So yeah, I think that's everything to explore up there, which means we go this way, because there's nowhere else to go. Oh. Oh, wow. I just noticed those big things coming from the ceiling. Big curtain noodles. If this was Half-Life, if you got touched by one of these things, you would die. If it had any sort of like downward velocity on you. Can we? Big curtain noodles. Curtain bags. Like bean bags. Interesting. Also, I just noticed that we're going down a ramp. It looks like these curtain noodles, is that going to go back up the ramp, or is it done? Oh, it is literally done. It has exited this realm. I was going to say something about the curtain bags. Oh, I see. Okay. Yeah, so let me get into position. I can see this again. I was going to say, that would be some awfully good timing if we just happened to be there for the one time that the ball ran through those curtain bags. For a lot of these things, and yes, that is what I am calling them, the texturing on these almost looks like the texture is like inverted. You could definitely see some really sharp lines on all of the different planes of these curtain bags. Something I would prefer them to be like a little bit of a softer transition, because these things look very comfy and cozy. So you don't want those sharp lines going against each other like that, and find a way to make the textures look like they're not just like individual polygons or whatever they're called, conflicting with each other. Yeah. I think that's like a common trend with a lot of the Motion Link games. All of the things that need work are just like the... Oh! Ah! What's happening? I'm jumping a lot. This is... It's a lot. It's a lot. Wow, okay. So, and we're back. Alright, cool. I guess that jumping, which I didn't even know was possible, was a result of going through this like one-way wall or whatever it was. I am assuming that that was not supposed to be the character having gone through a successful exhibit, jumping for joy very vigorously. But yeah, okay, so we are back. That took about as long as I thought it would. A lot of Motion Link's games are pretty similar in length. They tend to be from, I think, 20 to 45 minutes. Fugue and Void was about 45 minutes. And this is where we would leave. The menu and stuff for a lot of these games is pretty simple. Like, a lot of these games you can only do in one go. There's no saving system. To exit the game, you just Alt F4 is the way to do it. At some point, if you're going to be making more complicated games, it might be nice having a menu system, or at least something where, you know, people who are less experienced with kind of operating these types of games, how they'll know to leave. Like if there's just a button, like, you know, go to escape, and then like a button that you can press to get out whenever you want to, so you don't have to worry about Alt plus F4. There are some games that Motion Link has done. The one that I'm thinking of, I can't remember the title right now, of course. It was Muratoka. When that game ends, you don't even know that the game has ended, because the screen is just faded to black, and that's it. But you can still move around. You can still hear yourself moving around. And there's like nothing to do unless I didn't wait long enough, but I waited pretty long when I played that game. Until you realize, oh, it's the end of the game, okay, time to tab out of it. So yeah, there's that. This was Neo-Brutalism of tomorrow. Motion link, itch.io. I will be sure to leave a link to the itch.io page in the description. And that's what I think about it. Those are all the things that I picked out of it. So that's all I have. I will see you guys around. I've been made aware of something that I did not catch on my first playthrough after scrolling through Moshe Link's Twitter in order to find something else. I forgot about this tiny little thing in here. It's a little it's a little man. Is that a kick? Is he doing a kick? Just kind of walking around. Little kick animation. I don't know what this is. Looks like a little person. This is very cute. 10 out of 10.